All right, it's going to get really rattly here in a bit. I'm talking about Montale today. Montale fragrance is perfect to wear in the autumn season. Are you ready for autumn yet? So I did a video on Mancera fragrances that are perfect to wear in the autumn. Have you caught that video? If you haven't, please go catch it. And also, please catch my overall niche and luxury autumn fragrances. Both of those videos are live. But today it's all about Montale, and I feel like Montale is perfect to wear in the autumn. Find out what the fragrances are coming right up. Thanks so much for tuning in. It's Sebastian. We're talking about Montale. Let me know if you're a fan of this house. It's a very Middle Eastern style fragrance house, and they offer really intense experiences with their fragrances. Do let me know some of your favorite fragrances from the house. I went through my collection of 25 fragrances and I narrowed down to a top 10 list. I was initially going to do a top 12, but one of the fragrances I left off as a bonus option because I'm uncertain about that fragrance. We'll talk about it when it gets to the bonus section, but let's go ahead and get started with the list. But before I do, if you have a favorite Montale, do let me know what it is, especially ones you like to wear in the autumn season. So let's get started at number 10. See, it's rattling already. But going to the fragrance Dark Vanilla here at number 10. Are you familiar with this one? I have a full review of this on this channel, probably like 4 years ago, 3.5 years ago. And it's a very masculine take on vanilla. It is vanilla after all, but there's a slight animalic leathery note in here that's pretty prominent. And also there's oud, saffron, amber, patchouli, even cumin, and a bit of funky musk. So it does get very animalic, but not like overwhelmingly too much. But I feel like whatever notes they have in here, along with the leather and the oud, mixed with the vanilla, creates for a bit of a very masculine animalic take on a vanilla fragrance. If you're tired of the sugary, sweet, candied types of vanilla gourmands, this might be one for you to try. It's quite intense, really overwhelming sometimes, and of course it does get a bit sweaty with that cumin note, but I feel like when you get tired of that kind of overly gourmand vanilla fragrances, you can try for something like this, pretty overwhelming with the masculine notes of leather and oud and things like that. So it's dark vanilla starting off the mix here, very masculine take on vanilla. Let me know if you're a fan of that one. It's not one that's talked about, maybe because it's a bit on the animalic side, but let me know, put a comment down below. Let's move on to something a bit more unisex, perhaps feminine leaning. It's Rose's Musk. See, it is pretty rattly right here. Do you guys enjoy the Montale bottles? Let me know if you do or if you don't. So Rose's Musk is a great take on a rose fragrance. Quite musky for sure, but it's an overdose of roses. There's the top notes and heart notes of roses, along with some jasmine, musk, and ambergris. In the dry down, it does get a bit ambery from the ambergris, slight bit animalic, not much to really notice. But you're basically swimming in a sea of roses, lots of it, along with some light floral touches, white floral touches of jasmine, and of course an overdose of musk as well. It's a really gorgeous rose fragrance. I really love it, and I like musky fragrances in autumn because it's that between season experience, not really cold, not really warm, but right in the middle, and musk is really perfect in those type of seasons, and this one does a great job in that type of a temperature. Dark vanilla might be perfect for even winter experience because it's so potent. Rose's Musk, I feel like it's a perfect autumn fragrance. And also Montale, even Mancera, they do some great work with roses. I feel like the rose is kind of key. Goes from one to the other, they smell very much similar. So I don't know what they do with the rose, but it's a very familiar smell. And it's captured perfectly here with Rose's Musk from the House of Montale at number 9. Number 8, go into a gourmand fragrance. I have a full review of this one on the channel as well. It's Vanilla Cake. Cake come to life, basically, a vanilla cake, but kind of yogurty, creamy, milky, lactonic. So you've got all these experiences here. It's quite sweet for a Montale fragrance, although they do some sweet fragrances. This one's one of the sweetest from this house. Vanilla in totally like in your face here, but in kind of a cake form, a creamy cake form. So it's vanilla, meringues, almond butter, buttercream, almond powder, milky mousse, caramel, and yogurt cake. Have you guys had yogurt cake? I have. It's an interesting cake to eat. It does taste good. It does really do something really interesting. A bit sour, because yogurt does get sour. But there is a sourness here, but super sweet and a bit almondy here as well with the almond powder. But it's a great gourmand, ranked here at number 8, and I think it's a perfect fragrance to wear not only in the autumn season, but also a great one for the winter too. So it's Vanilla Cake. Let me know if you're a fan of that one. This next one's quite popular. It's Honey Oud from Montale. Here it is in the orange bottle, honey colored. So Honey Oud for me is more oud than honey. Honey is there, you'll notice it, but I feel like there's more of a prominence of the Laotian oud that's in here, which is dominating the honey. Honey is there to balance out the oud that's in here, so it does sweeten things up. It does make it a bit powdery. So it's Laotian oud, honey, patchouli, floral notes, cinnamon, amber, leather, vanilla. It does have a bit of a holiday vibe. I did want a little more honey here, but you just got to go into it knowing that it's not about the honey, it's more about the oud here for me. At least for me, that's how it is. I like the whole holiday vibe with the cinnamon as well. And of course, it does get ambery and the dry down, a bit leathery as well. So this is Honey Oud, one of the more popular Montale fragrances. Let me know if you're a fan of that one. Put a comment down below. And have you compared it to Floris's Honey Oud, which is spelled O-U-D rather than A-O-U-D? I find Floris's Honey Oud much more honeyed, I should say, versus Honey Oud from Montale. But maybe our noses are different. Maybe you get more honey in Honey Oud from Montale versus Floris. Do put a comment down below. Up next, one of my very first Montale fragrance experiences. It's Black Oud. This one right here. Are you a fan of Black Oud? I think Black Oud is one of the best rose oud combo fragrances, and I feel like it's so good because it has patchouli in it as well. That's what really does it for me. Sometimes oud and rose can be good, sometimes bad. I don't care for it. For me, the patchouli adds an extra layer of earthy woodiness, kind of sort of a bit sparkling as well, a bit effervescence for me, and I feel like it's a contrast against the rose and the oud and makes it a bit more exciting. Not a bit, a lot more exciting. Black Oud also has a bit of Mandarin, some musk and Labdanum, so it does get a bit ambery and musky when it's dried down and a bit of freshness from the Mandarin orange. It's a really great oud rose combo, one of the first that I actually started wearing. I love it. Am I into it now though? I'm a bit tired of this kind of combo, but I think it's still great. Montale's is one of the best oud and rose combos, and I think I've already mentioned it. It's because of the patchouli. The patchouli is so good in this. It smells fantastic. So Black Oud from Montale. Let me know if you're familiar with it. Next, it's Patchouli Leaves. Patchouli Leaves is one of the best patchouli fragrances. Also, this is one of my earlier Montale fragrances. I really love it. I think it was Honey Oud, Intense Cafe, and Black Oud. But Patchouli Leaves, a Montale style of patchouli fragrance. It's an overdose of patchouli here. Really concentrated, a bit on the dry side. There's Patchouli Leaves with oak, vanilla, amber, white musk, and Cistus ladaniferus, which is sort of like a rock rose, but it's a different kind of a note. It does get ambery in the dry down, of course, musky as well. But up top, it's all about patchouli. Although it's not up top, patchouli is generally a base note, but because it's so prominent in this fragrance, it's basically what you wear is top, heart, and base patchouli. And I like that kind of a fragrance. If you like psychedelic and things like that, reminiscence patchouli, definitely try Patchouli Leaves. Patchouli Leaves is Montale's take on the patchouli fragrance. Next, a fragrance I discovered late, even though everybody was talking about it, I didn't really look into it until much later, and I'm surprised that I waited so long for this. It's been a couple of years now, maybe like 3 or 4 years when I first discovered it, but this came out like around 2017 or 2016. OUDMAZING is quite an amazing fragrance. There's a light hint of something like a few designer fragrances in here, and it's also a bit on the fruity side because there's a bunch of fruits that's in here. It makes for the oud to be easier to wear, and it smells great. There's a familiarity out there with some fragrances that are mass market, and even though this doesn't smell mass market, it has the familiar smells of it. I feel like it's easier to embrace something like this when you have a hard time or challenging time with oud. So it's oud, orange, bergamot, pears, figs, pink grapes, iris, jasmine, patchouli, leather, vanilla, and white musk. Really, really wonderful offering. The figs is what does really great job here. It's that kind of slight sweetness that's in here. Pears a bit more watery, a bit more juicy. And then the grapes is kind of an unusual note that's in here. We don't see it quite often. That's in here. So it's got fruitiness nicely balanced with oud, and patchouli and some vanillic touches. Really wonderful offering. I love this one. OUDMAZING. Later discovery, but I think it's definitely not one you should sleep on. You should definitely check it out. Especially if you like fragrances like... There's a little bit of a reminder of Chanel Coco Mademoiselle in there. I think that's what's doing it for me. But moving on to another great fragrance from Montale at number 3. It's Sensual Instinct. So I feel like they took a Baccarat Rouge-like experience and combined it with a few of their more popular fragrances, utilizing that rose that I was just mentioning about in Rose's Musk, and creating a new fragrance, and I love that about it. It's roasted coffee, rose, pralines, amber, cedarwood, oakmoss. You do have that kind of a Baccarat Rouge like ambroxan thing, saffron, oakmoss kind of a thing in here happening, but then you got that coffee from Ristretto Intense Cafe, and then you got the rose from there, or maybe rose from Rose's Musk. But it's a long-lasting, sexy fragrance. Really love that whole combo of the coffee and the rose with that whole BR540 DNA. I love that about it. So it's Sensual Instinct at number 3. Let me know if you're familiar with that one. And then speaking about coffee, this is Ristretto Intense Cafe. So I left off the regular Intense Cafe. The original Intense Cafe was the fragrance that I was obsessed with for the longest time. In fact, I introduced it to so many people. So many people fell in love with it, people that I knew in person. I've now graduated to Ristretto Cafe, and I love it because it's more coffee, and it's a really great take on this kind of a cafe latte experience with the actual Ristretto coffee or coffee in the fragrance itself. So it's Ristretto coffee, vegetal rose, vanilla, white musk, cream, and sugar. Super delicious. Really love it. I love the whole rose latte combo. But now we have a real coffee experience in this one. And they've thrown in a Ristretto pull of espresso, which means it's a short pull. You're basically getting all the great coffee in here mixed in with that rose and vanilla and the creaminess that's you're familiar with the original Intense Cafe. This is so delicious and a perfect fragrance to wear. Check it out, Ristretto Intense Cafe. I love coffee in the autumn because it's a warm drink, and it's colder in the autumn and winter as well, but I feel like that's going to be a perfect autumn fragrance. And then the last but not least, at number 1, it's Arabian's Tonka. Arabian's Tonka is great, whereas Arabian's, the original, didn't care for whatsoever. I liked it, I didn't love it. This, they did it much, much better, taking it into a Tonka sugary direction with, once again, a little bit of that kind of Oakmoss, Baccarat Rouge, saffron kind of a combo in here. So it's Tonka beans, brown sugar, oud rose, saffron, amber, white musk, Oakmoss, and bergamot. If you like Tonka and fragrances, you definitely need to get your nose on this one. If you haven't, just keep in mind there is a little bit of that BR540 thing happening here. But it's a long-lasting fragrance, really great Tonka, really great ambroxan, sexy muskiness, all rolled into one. It's gourmand, but not super gourmand. But then again, it's Tonka, so it's a bit nutty, almondy. Really wonderful offering here. Really long lasting as well. Arabian's Tonka from the House of Montale, and that is at number 1. What are your thoughts on these fragrances, guys? Is this something that you wear? Let me know your thoughts on these fragrances. Do let me know. Put a comment down below. And let me know if I've missed anything that you love, that you wear, that I haven't mentioned here today in this video. I'm always curious to check out Montale, and I'll see if I haven't discovered something that people are wearing that I forgot about. Alright guys, thanks so much for watching today's video. If you have any questions or comments, please do list below. Please like this video. Please share it. Follow me on Instagram and Facebook, and I'll be back with more videos very soon. Have a good one. Goodbye. The last fragrance I wanted to talk to you about is Vetiver Patchouli from Montale. This is a great, great release. It does remind me a little bit of Tempo and Orage from the House of Louis Vuitton, Tempo from Diptyque, but this is Montale's take on it, so it's robust, it's intense, it's powdery, it's dry, but vetiver and patchouli to the max with some jasmine, pink pepper, and there's a carrot seed or carrot note in this as well. Really wonderfully done. I don't know what the status is. It's not readily available here in the States, so has it discontinued in the States? It's not even at the discounters. At least I can't find it. It is definitely on the EU website for... Is it the EU or the FR? I can't remember. One of the websites, the original website for Montale, it's there, but still no discounters. The USA website doesn't list this anymore, but it's a fantastic fragrance. Really love it. It's sort of a green powdery take on patchouli with vetiver. So it's patchouli, vetiver patchouli from the house of Montale. That's the bonus fragrance. If you have any info on that fragrance and what the status is, do let us know. Put a comment down below so we can find out. See you guys later. Bye bye.